Now back to the crossover with Marlon Jones and Armon Williams.
All right, welcome back to the crossover with Marlon and Armon, KDUS 1060. Subscribe and follow us on our social media accounts on both YouTube and Facebook at the crossover 1060. So that's at the crossover 1060. So if you're on youtube.com, that would be youtube.com/at the crossover 1060. And if you're on Facebook, facebook.com/the crossover 1060. And you can call into our listener line at 602-260-1060. Once again, that's 602-260-1060. All right, Marlon, as we speak right now, the game started between Michigan and Penn State, and there's been a whole lot of controversies encircling Michigan over this last week, really over the last few weeks, but it seemed to all kind of come to or some type of answer or resolution, whatever you want to call it, as just about a day ago or so. Jim Harbaugh has been suspended by the Big Ten Conference. By the Big Ten Conference, the commissioner of the people that run the Big Ten, they decided to go ahead and put him on hiatus, put him on ice, at least for the remainder of the regular season, saying that he nor the team they're not ineligible from participating in the playoffs should they make the postseason, to make the playoffs. But as of right now, he's not coaching. At least right now, he's not coaching this Saturday as they're facing off against Penn State Nittany Lions right now as we speak. So the Big Ten commissioner Tony Petitti said he believed immediate action was necessary because of the extraordinary nature of the offending conduct. So in a letter, this is the 13-page letter, in a letter addressed to Michigan State Athletic Director Ward Emanuel, says the sign-stealing scheme allegedly organized by former Michigan staffer Connor Stalions, and this is the person that's at the head of it. I mean, he's at the center of it. Connor Stalions is termed as an organized, extensive, years-long, in-person, advanced scouting scheme that was impermissible. So the competition that is only about, they went on to say, the Big Ten said, competition that is only about winning while disregarding the rules of fair play diminishes all of us, including our institutions. Petitti wrote, it says, integrity of the competition must be preeminent. Michigan President Santa Ono said Friday evening in a statement that he was dismayed by Petitti's rule or his rush judgment, and accused him of reacting to pressure from other conference schools. So Ono said, he went on to say that he believes the timing of the Big Ten's decision was intended to hurt the school's chances in court. These are some pretty strong accusations that are being flung back and forth, particularly at Michigan.
So an investigation is going on right now.
Well, they claim that they concluded their investigation, and then based on the information that they got, that they said that it was serious enough to go ahead and do something about it. So the deal is that they went ahead, they suspended Jim Harbaugh. He can't participate, at least as of right now. Now, they filed a last-second kind of restraining order.
Yeah, I saw that.
An emergency restraining order. Yes, University of Michigan and Harbaugh. They were hoping that it would be ruled on, or that they had a judge, that they would have a judge that could go ahead and to release that restraining order, which would allow Jim Harbaugh to coach today. That didn't happen, so he can't participate. He's not there. He's not there at Penn State. He's not there at the game today. I mean, he was somewhere around, but he can't be. He can't be on the premises. Can't be on the sidelines. So he's not coaching today. So what's going to happen is that they're going to go ahead, and they scheduled it for next Friday. So next Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, they're going to go ahead and have that hearing, and both Michigan's Coach Harbaugh, his attorneys, and the university will be there, in addition to the Big Ten Conference, the Petitti and the people that went ahead and that filed this injunction on him to go ahead and argue this case in front of a judge.
So this is the Big Ten doing, not the NCAA.
This is the Big Ten, yes, exactly. This is not the NCAA. This is the Big Ten's decision, and there are a lot of.
Has there been a precedent for this?
As far as I know, that there's really no precedent for this. Although the Big Ten, they're claiming that they have the jurisdiction to go ahead and do this, but it's frazzled a lot of people. A lot of people are kind of
as they should be.
A lot of people are like, what is this? This is kind of like this. This is this just doesn't feel right. It's not right. I mean, one of the people that thought that this was kind of hypocrisy was Desmond Howard. And this is actually what Desmond Howard had to say about it.
to the punishment that has been handed down to Michigan and falls on the shoulder, it seems, of
Well, guys,
Harbaugh.
it's kind of anticlimactic, you know what I mean? It's like we kind of knew it was coming. It was just a matter of when, not if, and everyone's been preparing for it. So there's no big surprise. I think that you look at the commissioner and his statement and what he's put out there, it's kind of the hypocrisy is what grabs me, Steve. You know, it's like if it's Michigan, it's sign stealing. If it's someone else, it's sign decoding. If it's Michigan, it's in-person scouting. If it's someone else, it's coaches sharing information from the goodness of their hearts. So the whole thing, man, and in reality, it's a distinction without difference to me.
Now, this is Pete Thamel. He explained this yesterday when the decision broke. This is what Pete Thamel, what he said about the suspension. This is kind of his breakdown of it.
Well, Hannah, I think there's a few things moving forward here. One is that the Big Ten's decision today was not one that it took lightly. They've just tweeted out some reasoning in the last few minutes, and I think this passage is important. Enforcing the sportsmanship policy with appropriate discipline this season, in light of the university's established violations this season, is thus of the utmost importance to protect the reputation of the conference and its member institutions. So basically, the Big Ten is saying there was enough evidence that they received from the NCAA that disrupted competition during this year amid Michigan's alleged illicit sign-stealing scheme that they felt the need to punish Michigan this season. So Jim Harbaugh will not be on the sideline for the next 3 games unless the second part of this comes, Hannah, and there is some sort of legal injunction in the next 20 hours before they kick off against Penn State on Saturday.
Right.
Now, that was yesterday, of course, and Pete Thamel, he's the individual that's been kind of trying to figure out exactly everything that's going on. And I was watching College Game Day on ESPN earlier today, and they were waiting to see if Jim Harbaugh was going to have an opportunity to get in front of a judge to go ahead and to enact the restraining order against the Big Ten Conference. Of course, that didn't happen. Pete Thamel broke that. But Desmond Howard, interesting what Desmond Howard had to say about this, as far as like there's a double standard, like other teams do it. And it's just it's advanced scouting, but Michigan does it, and it's cheating.
Now it's looks like Michigan has gotten in trouble and punished with circumstantial evidence, and nothing has completely been proven. Mm-hmm. There's been no official judgment. They're being punished for the aesthetics of it,
right? Without
actually being completely thoroughly investigated and hard evidence like yeah, this is it. And they're just doing it based on whatever. And that's why I think everybody has a problem with it.
Yeah, and you would expect that for somebody like Desmond Howard to have an opinion like that. I mean, he comes from Michigan, he comes from the University of Michigan. But, it's not just Desmond Howard. It's not just like the Michigan alums and the Michigan Wolverine faithfuls. This is also people just around the sports world, in particular, like Mike Wilbon. He had something to say, and his take on it wasn't that much different from Desmond Howard. Here's what Mike Wilbon had to say about it.
This is an overreaction. But look, there's no question Michigan broke some rules here today. My thing is the rules are nonsense about scouting. So you can call up your buddies in another team and not only get information that you've gleaned about that team from just having played them, but share it with other teams, yet you can't pay a scout to go. This is nonsense. But let me give Brian some credit. We were talking during the break. Michigan has never been a sympathetic entity.
You're talking to a Buckeye here.
And you're talking to a Buckeye and a Big Ten guy. And I am against this. But this is going to drive Jim Harbaugh out of college football.
He's been suspended for 6 of the games this year.
Yes.
But Michigan's still probably the best team in the Big Ten.
And Michigan's the only chance that the Big Ten has of winning the college football playoff this year. So the Big Ten is going to cut off its nose to spite its face here. I'm stunned at this. The amount of money that this could swing. But let me just say this real quickly. That team is going to have to rally, and I think they will.
Now, that was Mike Wilbon's response to it. He says, Something happened. They did participate in stealing signs, but I don't necessarily know if it's that big of a deal, to be perfectly honest with you. As much as the Big Ten commissioner and the Big Ten are trying to make this up.
I agree. I remember growing up in high school, with our basketball coach, when we would get ready to play another team. Let's say we were getting ready to play like Westwood High School. He would get a tape from Mesa High's coach because they just played Westwood.
Sure.
And watched that game and watched everything that Westwood do. Mm-hmm. So and then we would.
It's customary.
Prepare accordingly, right?
For pretty much all sports. You're talking about basketball. They used to do it in high school and football. They did it in college and football.
And that practice is still going on today, I'm sure.
I remember my college coach, Dick, told me he received stuff occasionally, like, say, somebody like Steve Spurrier, if we played New Mexico State. If we had that in common one season where they gave us film and then we went ahead and exchanged film with them. They do it all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so different. What if you get a player from a team you're about to play, and he's like, oh, this is what they'll do, this is the formations, this is the setup.
Right.
It's kind of like the same thing, because I just play with that team. So this is what we got to look for, in certain situations. So this is like overreaction to me.
I think so.
Wilbon hit it on the head. I've been saying it for the last few weeks that Michigan's the best team in the country.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I believe so, too. You're starting to pull me around. It should be noted that the today offensive coordinator, that Sharon Moore, that he's coached for 3 games. He was a head coach. He served his 3 games earlier this season because of a suspension that Jim Harbaugh. So they really seem to be piling on Jim Harbaugh for whatever reason. But coming up next, at last, Kyler Murray is slotted to start this weekend against the Falcons. So we're going to go ahead and weigh into it. You're tuned into The Crossover, KDUS 1060.